You'd think by now, after centuries of science, tech breakthroughs, and minds that can calculate the age of the universe, we'd have all the answers. But nope. There are things out there so bizarre, so mind-bending, that even the smartest people on the planet just throw their hands up and say, yeah, we got nothing. Some of these mysteries? Maybe ancient civilizations figured them out, but history misplaced the cheat codes. Others? Well, they're probably right under our noses, but we're too busy looking at our screens to notice. And then there are the truly unsolvable ones, the kind that make even the most logical minds question everything. Get ready, because these 15 discoveries will break your brain in ways science simply can't explain. Number 15. Ancient mummies with cocaine. Scientists can't tell us the what, why, or how behind some of the weirdest discoveries. Most of the time, we expect them to have the answers. But every so often, history throws something so bizarre at them that even the experts are left clueless. Finding strange objects inside ancient Egyptian mummies isn't that unusual. Researchers mostly agree these items were placed as offerings to the gods, treasures for the afterlife, or part of religious rituals. So, it's normal. Now, the super mind-boggling thing here is that they can't explain is that how American drugs, like cocaine, ended up in a mummy that died long before Europeans ever set foot in the Americas. The discovery was so shocking that instead of accepting the findings, many accused the scientists of contamination. Because apparently, it's easier to believe that respected researchers are secretly partying in their labs than to consider the possibility that ancient civilizations had contact across oceans. If that's true, well, history as we know it might need a serious rewrite. Number 14. Reproduction is still a mystery to scientists. Cue the predictable joke about nerdy scientists struggling with relationships. But stereotypes aside, science genuinely can't explain why reproduction exists the way it does. Logically, it's kind of a mess. Think about it. Why does nature insist on dividing species into two halves, forcing them to interact just to keep things going? From a purely evolutionary standpoint, it's wildly inefficient. Half the population, males in most species, takes up resources without actually making more offspring. Biologists call it an evolutionary anomaly, because honestly, single-parent reproduction, like cloning, would be way more practical. Yet, here we are, wired for connection, attraction, and, well, let's just say nature made sure we enjoy the process. Even scientists, for all their calculations, can't argue with that. So while we don't know exactly why nature chose this method, one thing's for sure, life finds a way, and it sure made sure we'd have fun doing it. Number 13. No one can explain exactly how or why gravity works. We all know the story. Isaac Newton takes an apple to the head, has a light bulb moment, and boom, gravity is officially a thing. Textbooks make it sound so neat and tidy like we've got this force completely figured out. Except, we don't. After 400 years of research, scientists still don't actually know why gravity works. We know what it does. Keeps us from floating off into space, makes planets orbit the sun, and ensures our coffee lands on our shirts instead of just hovering mid-air. But what causes gravity? That's still a giant question mark. Some theories point to space-time curvature, others to mysterious particles called gravitons, which, by the way, no one has found. But at this point, we're still basically just nodding along, pretending we understand it. So until someone gets hit by another apple and cracks the code, we'll just keep enjoying our totally unexplained ability to stay grounded. Now, the next one is way more brain-boggling than this. Number 12. Tomato genes. We like to think we're at the peak of evolution, highly intelligent, deeply complex, and, let's be real, pretty good-looking. But at a genetic level? Well, we're getting outclassed by a tomato. That's right, the juicy red fruit has over 30,000 genes, while humans barely scrape by with 20,000 to 30,000. Should we be offended? Maybe. But the real boggling thing is that scientists aren't even sure what half of these genes do. We're counting them, sure. But are we even measuring the right thing? Are genes just nature's hoarder stash? Nobody knows. This mystery is only getting messier, and at this rate, we might discover that potatoes have Nobel Prize-worthy DNA. Until then, let's just focus on the important stuff, like how many tomatoes it takes to make the perfect marinara. Number 11. The Antikythera mechanism. This ancient artifact is straight out of Indiana Jones. Discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1900, the Antikythera mechanism is often called the world's first computer, except it was built 2,000 years ago. That's way before anything even remotely like this should have existed. It's got intricate bronze gears, tracks celestial events with stunning accuracy, and even comes with a built-in instruction manual, so it's already more user-friendly than modern printers. The real question is, who built it, how, and why? For centuries, scientists poked at this thing without a clue. It wasn't until 2007 that a full reconstruction was made, proving it was centuries ahead of its time. And yet, we still don't know where it was built, who made it, or how ancient Greeks pulled this off when the rest of the world was still figuring out pottery. Number 10. Geologists can't explain musical rocks. We're not talking about rock bands here, though let's be real, Nickelback is a scientific mystery of its own. We mean actual rocks that ring like bells when struck with a hammer. Sounds cool, right? Except here's the weird part. Rocks aren't supposed to do that. Yet, in certain spots around the world, they just do. Take the ringing rocks of Pennsylvania, for example, all made of the same material, yet only 1/3 of them actually produce sound. Why? No one knows. Even stranger? These musical rock sites tend to be weirdly lifeless. No plants, no animals, nothing. Creepy. Scientists have theories about internal stresses, sound wave interactions, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's still one big geological head-scratcher. Number 9. Near-death experiences. The whole step into the light thing? It's not just movie drama. People who've had near-death experiences, or as they like to call it shortly, the NDE, report eerily similar things, floating out of their bodies, moving through a tunnel, seeing loved ones, or feeling an overwhelming sense of peace. Science should have an easy explanation for this, but it doesn't. Sure, skeptics call it hallucinations, and some neuroscientists argue that a dying brain fires off a last-ditch overload of signals to keep the heart going. But why do so many people, regardless of culture, religion, or background, see the exact same thing? That's where the mystery deepens. Is it just a brain glitch, or is there something more to the whole life flashing before your eyes thing? Well, the only way to find it out, you know. So let's just put this in the unsolved for now category and move on. Number 8. Science can't explain a yawn. This should be simple, right? We do it when we're tired, bored, or when someone else yawns first. You're probably yawning right now, aren't you? But here's the weird part. Science has no idea why we do it. The old theory that yawning helps bring in more oxygen? Turns out that's crap. It might actually decrease oxygen levels. Then there's the contagious yawning mystery. Why do we yawn when we see someone else yawn? Why do animals yawn when we yawn? Even fish yawn. And if that's not weird enough, recent research suggests that the bigger your brain, the longer your yawn. But why? No clue. At this point, we understand black holes better than we understand why your body randomly decides to stretch its jaw wide open for no reason. So until science figures it out, just accept it. Yawning is one of nature's great unsolved mysteries. Number 7. Creatures of Movile Cave, Romania. For 5.5 million years, Movile Cave has been doing its own thing, completely sealed off from the rest of the world. No sunlight, no fresh air, just a toxic, sulfur-filled nightmare that should be completely uninhabitable. And yet, scientists have found 48 species thriving inside. These aren't just average bugs. Most of them are eyeless, feeling their way around with specialized antennae, surviving on a thick bacteria-based chemosynthetic foam that coats the cave walls. Some of the strangest discoveries include the Movile cave leech, aka Hirudinea movile, a unique species of water scorpion, and blind woodlice, aka Armadillidiidae. Scientists are baffled by how life has adapted to this hellish environment. The creatures have evolved in complete isolation, making this one of the strangest ecosystems ever discovered. And honestly, if we ever find alien life, it'll probably look a whole lot like whatever's crawling around down there. Number 6. Scientists can't tell us why bicycles stay upright. Every kid remembers their first wobbly bike ride, pedaling furiously, swerving like a drunk goose, and inevitably crashing into the nearest hedge. But once you get the hang of it, it just works. Bicycles stay upright and no one questions it. Well, except for physicists, who, after 150 years of trying, still can't figure out why. For a while, they thought it was momentum, gyroscopic forces, or even some weird combination of physics magic. But in 2011, scientists had to admit that after all that time, their math still wasn't adding up. They thought they had a solid equation, but apparently, someone forgot to carry the one. Right now, the best explanation is, it just does. So next time you hop on a bike, remember, you're defying logic and pedaling on pure mystery. And if anyone tries to explain it, just nod and say, yeah, even scientists don't know, so let's just roll with it. Number 5. Planet 9. Far beyond Neptune, there is a hidden gem known as Planet 9. Scientists suspect its existence because more than a dozen icy objects in the outer solar system have orbits that seem off, as if an invisible giant is subtly pulling them. This unseen planet is estimated to be 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth and could take up to 10,000 years to complete a single orbit. But here's the problem. No telescope has ever actually seen it. If it's out there, it's more than 500 times farther from the Sun than Earth, making it too dim for current technology to detect. Enter the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, a powerful telescope under construction in Chile. It will create a 10-year time-lapse of the sky, and if Planet 9 is real, this observatory might finally prove it. Or, we'll just have to accept that something else, something weirder, is messing with our solar system. Number 4. The runaway black hole that shouldn't exist. Black holes are supposed to stay put, anchoring galaxies in place. But in April 2023, well, astronomers spotted something never seen before in the entire existence of humanity. A runaway black hole tearing through space at 4,500 times the speed of sound, dragging a massive 200,000 light-year-long trail of stars behind it. That's twice the size of the Milky Way. How does something so enormous just escape? Scientists think it was once part of a rare black hole binary system. Then, a third black hole crashed the party during a galaxy merger, throwing off gravitational forces so chaotically that one of the black holes got yeeted into deep space. If confirmed, this discovery would be the first direct evidence that black holes can be ejected from their home galaxies, proving the universe isn't just chaotic, it's downright reckless. Number 3. Jumbo. Astronomers have long known that rogue planets, worlds drifting through space with no home star, are out there. But in 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST, spotted something unexpected. Over 500 free-floating planets in the Orion Nebula, including 80 pairs of them orbiting each other. Scientists call them Jupiter mass binary objects, or jumbos, because they're roughly the size of Jupiter. But unlike planets, they don't orbit a star. The problem? No known model can explain them. Did they form from collapsing gas clouds like miniature stars? Were they once normal planets but kicked out by a passing star? Neither theory fully adds up, leaving jumbos as one of the biggest planetary mysteries yet. If these orphaned worlds are common, there could be trillions of them wandering our galaxy, somewhere out there, alone in the dark. Number 2. The Fermi bubbles. Towering over the Milky Way's center, two massive bubbles of gamma-ray energy, called the Fermi bubbles, stretch 25,000 light-years in both directions. These mysterious lobes of radiation, invisible to the human eye, suggest that something cataclysmic happened at our galaxy's core 2.6 million years ago. The leading theory? Our supermassive black hole went on a feeding frenzy, swallowing vast amounts of matter and unleashing a blast of energy that lasted over 100,000 years. But here's the weird part. This shouldn't have happened so recently. Scientists long believed our galaxy's black hole had been relatively quiet for millions of years, but these bubbles prove otherwise. Alongside their X-ray counterparts, the Rosetta bubbles, they stand as a cosmic crime scene, evidence of an ancient explosion we still don't fully understand. Number 1. Cats purr. Out of all the great mysteries of the world, dark matter, consciousness, how Adam Sandler still gets movie deals, this one seems like it should be simple. But no, scientists still can't explain why cats purr. Obviously, they purr when they're happy, but they also purr when they're injured, scared, or even just existing. It's not even consistent across species. Cheetahs purr, but lions and tigers don't. And to make things even weirder, we don't even know how they do it. Is it their vocal cords, their diaphragm, some secret purr organ? The best guess is that purring might have healing properties. Some studies suggest the frequency of a cat's purr can help bones and tissues regenerate. If that's true, cats have been running their own biomedical research labs for centuries. Until science catches up, we'll just have to accept that our feline overlords are keeping some secrets to themselves. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.